Hello, and welcome back to Post Traumatic Revelations. I am your host, Afrah Caraballo, and in today's episode, we are looking at the effects of your point of view. So, science has proven that when you change the way you look at a thing, the thing that you're looking at will change. And many of our spiritual teachings will tell us to focus our attention on our creator, focus our attention on our source, to not get distracted by outside properties, outside influences, but to stay focused on our source, our power, what is good in our lives, what feeds us. But why? Why does it matter how we view a situation? Why does it matter how we view a person or a thing? Well, it matters because what we see affects how we think and how we feel and ultimately how we act. So, if you see someone that you love and trust across a crowded room, you're going to feel safe. You might even smile, but your body softens. There's a chemical response to seeing this person that you care about, this person that you feel safe around, right? So our bodies respond for better or for worse. So the same is true if you happen to be at a party having a wonderful time and all of a sudden you see an ex or you see someone who has wronged you in some way, that's going to make you feel bad and uneasy. You might frown, but there's this chemical response in your body. You might get scared or you might get angry. You might even try to avoid this person or just leave the party altogether. The point is what we see and how we think about it affects our mood and our behaviors. And so your point of view is just that, it's your point of view. So your perceptions, your beliefs, your experience, they're all gonna have an effect on how you're experiencing the world around you, about a person or about a situation. So, who you are and where you are in the world, what you've been through, these things create your unique point of view. No one else sees the world the way you do, no one else experiences the world the way you do. There may be similarities, but because you are a unique being, you're going to experience the world through your own personal view, your own personal visual fingerprint, if you will, right? That no one ever will experience a situation the way you do. Since this is a podcast about post traumatic revelations, we are, of course, looking at post traumatic points of view. After a traumatic event, you're never the same. We are forever changed. Chemically, mentally, we're just not the same. post traumatically. And there is this new version of us after every trauma. There is the person you are before a traumatic event, and then the person you become after that traumatic event. You see differently, you feel differently, you act differently, and you think differently. So, post traumatically, our viewpoint is changed. We see the world through the eyes of a post traumatic victim, a post traumatic survivor, or a post traumatic teacher. Either way, we have changed and our views have changed. So, post traumatic victims tend to see walls, barriers, darkness, and there's this sense of being trapped, helpless, powerless. Victims can see no way out of their post traumatic prison. It's like a life sentence. From a victim's point of view, all is lost, everything is wrong, everything that could possibly go wrong happens to them, and it keeps happening. Post traumatic survivors, on the other hand, tend to see walls, but they also see windows and possibilities. There's this sense of hope. Survivors can see possible solutions, possible resources. From a survivor's point of view, the light is possible. And there's this thinking, there's this idea that if light can get into the darkness, then I can get out of the darkness. For survivors, post traumatic prison is a term sentence, it's a limited time. For post traumatic survivors, there's a belief that, yes, this is bad, this is painful, this is darkness, and I can get out. It's not permanent and not all bad. Post traumatic survivors find the and. They find the little glimmers of hope and possibility, and they start to grow them. Post traumatic survivors find the seeds of strength in their weakness, and they grow them. Survivors find the seeds of healing in the pain and grow them. A post traumatic survivor turns shit into fertilizer and grow the gardens of love, hope, and healing. They grow the gardens of possibility and they become post traumatic teachers. Now, post traumatic teachers see windows instead of walls, and they see doors where there were once windows. They not only see the way out, they view the post traumatic prison as temporary, and they see the way out, find the way out. And then post traumatic teachers start to show victims and survivors the possibilities, and they start to show the way out. Post traumatic teachers' point of view is one of awareness, awareness of the darkness, awareness of the light, awareness of the pain, awareness of healing. Post traumatic teachers see the prison and the freedom. They see the doors, they see the way out, they see beyond the current circumstance. For post traumatic teachers, there's an awareness of the ongoing, continuous work of love, hope, and healing. They understand that that's not a one and done. Post traumatic teachers know that you must keep cultivating the post traumatic garden. You must weed out the distractions, weed out those temptations of judgment, guilt, and shame. Post traumatic teachers know that the work of love, hope, and healing is never really done, that you continue to learn and grow and teach others and bring others along, that the light comes in and the light also comes from within. Post traumatic healers are lifelong students of love, hope, and healing, and they continue to share their knowledge as they're growing themselves. Now, your post traumatic point of view will depend on who you are, where you are, and what you've been through. We all have a trauma history. Every single one of us have lost something precious to us. And we all have different ways of seeing our situation, of sharing our history, of experiencing our traumas. We all have different levels of support, different levels of access to resources, and we all are on different stages of our healing journey. And while there are all these differences, what we have in common is loss and a creator. Something or someone has taken something precious away and left a hole. And this hole can fester or be healed. For some of us, there are multiple holes, multiple losses, multiple traumas, and we all have a creator, every single one of us. There is some force that beats your heart. There is some power that blinks your eyes and pumps your blood. Some powerful source that heals your bones and breathes your lungs. The source, this power, this force, whatever you want to call it, shines the sun, shines the moon, and shines the stars. This power moves oceans and grows trees and keeps planets from crashing into each other. I call this power God. And every single living thing has access to this power and uses it at its own discretion. Most of nature just moves toward the light and does what they're called to do. But as survivors of trauma, as victims of trauma, as human beings, we get distracted and things get in the way, and we can avoid the healing, delay the healing, avert our eyes and our attention from the work that needs to be done to be healed. But we all have access to this power. when we give ourselves permission to remember, when we give ourselves permission to access it, we all have access to post traumatic freedom. Viktor Frankl is proof of this when he survived, and not only survived, but then he became a teacher after World War II and after being released from the concentration camps. And Harriet Tubman is another example of access to this power that she was born into slavery and knew nothing else, but somehow gave herself permission to not only escape the horrors and trauma of slavery, but then to go back and show others the way to freedom. And Nelson Mandela, in the darkness of apartheid, is another example of access to this power, to this knowing that in the deepest, darkest places, the light shines from within and radiates out, that post traumatic healing is possible. And as I sit here and I speak to you in my second language, I feel like I am hope. I am hope, and I am proof of God's love and God's power, that post traumatic freedom is possible. And I feel honored and I feel blessed to be able to spread the message of love, hope, and healing post traumatically to anywhere in the world. That this power doesn't care who you are, the power doesn't care where you are, that it's just ever present, always on. And that when we shift our attention, we can see it, we can find it, we can access it, and start moving toward our own personal freedom. Anxiety, depression, post traumatic stress, bipolar, obsessive compulsive, mood, adjustment, all of these are disorders, and the list goes on. But they are coping strategies and they have their place. They are attempts to cope, attempts to regain some sense of control, some sense of power, some sense of safety post traumatically. What they all are, these diagnoses, these labels, these lists of coping strategies, they're our response to our individual post traumatic points of view, what we think and feel and believe about what we lost, how we lost it, how that loss was experienced. Our post traumatic point of view will determine our thoughts, our moods, our behaviors, and our diagnosis. After a post traumatic event, after a traumatic loss, we can have difficulty sleeping, difficulty concentrating, difficulty remembering, eating. We're irritable, angry, hypervigilant, scared, preoccupied with death, dying. We have difficulty regulating our moods, our behaviors, and our relationships. Post traumatically, we can numb out, withdraw, isolate. We can have nightmares. We have trust issues. We have poor boundaries and poor judgment. After a trauma has blown your mind and broken your heart, you can feel helpless and hopeless and powerless, overwhelmed. We feel like the world is a dangerous place, that there is no safe place, that we're not safe inside of ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust anyone else. So, post traumatically, yes, we are in disorder. There's no rhyme or reason to our thoughts, our behaviors, our impulses, and we're just struggling to restore a sense of balance, a sense of safety and wholeness inside of ourselves and around ourselves, feeling unworthy, feeling unlovable, feeling dirty, feeling out of control. Post traumatic loss leaves us feeling so lost that we can end up in relationship with our diagnosis. We can end up in relationship with our disorders. Our point of view can get so distorted that depression disorder, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorder, post traumatic stress disorder can feel normal. It can feel normal and safe to be in relationship with these coping strategies instead of trying again, instead of shifting our point of view to various possibilities. In my work, so often I hear, I would, but my depression won't let me, or my anxiety keeps me from doing this, or my bipolar keeps me from keeping a job, or I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm bipolar. And when I hear these I's followed by some list of coping strategies, I often say something to the effects of, when you have the flu, are you the flu? Or if you got COVID, would you be COVID? Or if you had HIV, would you be HIV? Or would you be someone with the flu, someone with COVID, or someone with HIV? I like to remind myself and my clients that having a condition or being in a situation doesn't make you that condition or that situation. But if that's your point of view, it will certainly have an effect on your chemical balance, on your mood, on your immune system, on your thoughts, on your feelings. Your point of view has an effect on your behaviors and your relationships, how you see yourself, and how you see the world. Your point of view shapes everything. Your point of view is so important that what you see changes your body's chemistry. If you see your favorite food, if you see your favorite person, if you see your least favorite food or your least favorite person, there's a chemical response. If you like what you see, there's an immediate chemical response in your body. And if you don't like what you see, there's an immediate chemical response in your body. For better or for worse, your point of view can change your life. So, what do you want to see? What do you want to have? Do you want to have walls? Do you want to have windows? Do you want to have doors? Do you want a post traumatic prison or do you want post traumatic freedom? Whatever you choose, you get to be right. An elephant is an elephant, and you can choose to look at the elephant head on and see these magnificent tusks, this big, powerful trunk, these big, gorgeous, flappy ears, or you can choose to be on the back of the elephant where it's hot, steamy, and stinky. Either way, it's an elephant. How do you want to look at it? How do you want to see it? Which point of view make you feel better? I invite you to adjust your point of view. I invite you to see the seeds of possibility. I invite you to see the spaces where the light gets in. Notice the moments of less pain. Notice the glimmers of hope and grow them. However small the seed, notice it. Notice the exceptions. I'm not suggesting by any means that you live in a state of denial. I'm not suggesting denial. Pain is pain, hell is hell, and nothing is all bad. And so I'm inviting you to give yourself permission to see the exceptions. Give yourself permission to entertain the idea of freedom. Give yourself permission to notice that in the darkest places, there are cracks. See the cracks and plan to make windows. See the possibilities and foster them. Give yourself permission to imagine post traumatic freedom. Look with new eyes. Notice your point of view. Notice how it makes you feel. And if you don't like it, shift just a little bit. Thank you. Thank you again for your time, attention, and permission. I wish you love, hope, and healing. And until next time, be well.